Almost.
Is it?
I have 6:57.
You're right. My computer, my laptop clock's off. Okay.
Oh. Hello.
All right, folks, we'll get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 19th, 2020 meeting of the Select Board. Tonight's meeting is being held remotely pursuant to the governor's authorization and in light of the Arcan meeting room being used for early voting. First order of business tonight is a public hearing. The notice is as follows. In accordance with the Bellingham Code of Bylaws, the Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, October 19th, 7 p.m. on the application of Terry's Treasures for a secondhand dealer's license. The public hearing will be held in an online virtual meeting via Zoom. Link can be found on the town's website. Terry, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
So we'll just kick things off. Obviously, we have this process that is in place for a secondhand dealer's license. It's my understanding, based on what I've read, you've already met with the Bellingham Police Department and understand the rules there.
Yep.
Maybe you could share with our board some information about your background and your new
Sure.
business in Bellingham.
So I've been doing business a long time. As part of my old job, I was a child care assistant director, business manager. My mom recently passed away in August, and I decided to stop everything and what I'm doing and create a store in honor of her. So I created Terry's Treasures, and it's basically just I'm reselling kind of like the Blessing Barn and doing things like that, taking donations and kind of benefiting the community, but making it a lot cheaper. And then it's a slash thrift shop with slash boutique, and then it's also a store that helps motivate people with certain like stress or anxiety. So I have products that help with that as well.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
That's kind of just what I'm doing, and I have already found a location and just wanted to get through all the processes and get it started.
Okay. Would anyone from the board like to start things off with questions, if any?
I only had one question. I didn't see your hours of operation, Terry. I mean, you're not.
No.
Sorry.
Yes, I haven't figured. I was gonna do 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday be closed.
Okay.
Okay. Dan, Kelly, or Don? Okay, not hearing anyone. This is a rather
Wait,
straight.
excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I think Don has a question. It looks like I see his mouth moving, but Don, you're muted.
Still can't hear him.
Still can't hear you, Don.
That's weird.
All right, well. Cindy or Dan, all set?
All set. Good luck.
Yeah, this is a rather straightforward process, but again, we've put it in place because of the possibility of items being sold that
Yes.
may or not find their way into your shop.
Mhm.
So it's precaution. You have a place to store the items for the 30 required days?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then the police are gonna come put a system in my computer so I can report them.
Okay. This is a public hearing, and I do see non-select board members on the call. Peter, are you on for this or something else?
I'm just listening in for your next hearing. I'm all good.
Okay, thanks, Peter. All right, with that said, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Well, Mr. Carter,
Whoa.
yeah.
Well, we're not hearing you, Dan. We're not hearing you, Dan. You sound like Hal from 2010.
You underwater?
Hear me now?
Oh my God.
No,
Jim, is it something with Zoom if it's both Dan and Don? That's weird.
Dan's in the hills of New Hampshire, so I'm not sure it's something we can do for him.
I'll text you. Hold on. Well, I'm in Hanover, New Hampshire. All right, hold on. I'm gonna text you. Hold on. John said the host has him muted. How about now? Can you hear me?
a little better.
No, nothing. All right. A little better or a
Try
lot
it now,
better?
Hello.
Oh,
Can you hear
Don,
me
hear
now?
ya?
No.
We
Can
got
you hear me
you
now?
all.
Oh, there's Dawn. Okay.
May I ask my question?
Please, Don.
Okay, sorry for the video issue, or I mean the audio issue. So it's not really a question for the applicant, just we do this all the time. Is there any chance that you may want to open up on Sunday? Because if you do, you can ask to be open on Sunday. You don't have to open on Sunday, it's your choice, but we can pass this with 7 days a week. You can always open up at a later date. If you don't ask for it in the hours of operation, then you'll have to come back before the board and ask again.
Okay.
So my suggestion is, if you think there may ever be an opportunity for you to open up on Sunday, I would put the hours in the same in what you're asking for. We can improve it. Then you don't have to come back before us, okay?
Yes. Thank
That's
you.
just a recommendation.
Yes, thank you. I'll do that.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So what hours would you like us to put in for Sunday? 12 to 7, 10 to 7?
Yeah,
Whatever,
do 12 to 7.
Okay.
That's it.
Dan, did you want to give it another shot?
Well, I was gonna second the motion. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
I think he ought to just be quiet because he sounds like he's had about a case of
All right.
beer.
Yeah.
And then,
No. Okay. Once again, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
oh,
Second,
All right. First and seconded.
nice.
I'll now entertain a motion to approve the license of Terry's Treasures for the hours Monday through Saturday of 10 to 7, Sunday 12 to 7.
Mhm.
So moved?
Second.
Do we have a second? All right, having a first and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Dan, just nod, yes or no. There you go. 5-0. Terry, we wish you well. We hope you were entertained by our little comedy here tonight. And best of luck to you. We hope to see you being very successful in Bellingham.
Yes, thank you so much.
best of luck.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
very good. Bye. All right. Next up, we have an interview at 7:05 for a ZBA alternate member interview. Jason Berthollet. And do we have Jason?
Yes.
All right, I'm trying to.
How you doing?
Very well. Would anyone on the, well, welcome, and maybe we could start off before with questions, a little bit about your background and your interest in the role.
Sure. I've been a Bellingham resident for about 7 years now. I'm a licensed electrician. I've been in construction for about 20 years, so I'm familiar with all the blueprints, start to finish from ground up on multiple sites. I'm looking to use my experience to help assist the town and all the zoning stuff.
All right, thank you. Would anyone on the board like to get started? And we'll also give Peter and anyone else on the zoning opportunity to ask questions.
I'll start if you'd like, Mr. Chairman. This is
Please.
Kelly. Hi, Jason. Thanks for coming in. So can you tell me a little bit about, I know it says electrician, what kind of area do you work in? Are you in commercial, big buildings or properties, residential?
I've done all types, actually. I've been in residential, I've been in commercial, I've been all over New England. I'm licensed in multiple states, actually, Mass, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Maine. So right now I'm working as a maintenance electrician for the TJX companies, and I'm doing maintenance electrical there. So it's about 77 acres of property there that I maintain with one more electrician.
Awesome. And so you'll have time for this with working for TJX?
Yes, I will. So they have very flexible hours there, and I need to be home for daycare and pickup and stuff like that. So that won't be an
Awesome.
issue.
Perfect. That was all the questions I had.
Thank you.
Dawn, Cindy, or Dan?
Now, just, I guess my question would be is just for someone, maybe Peter could answer this question. What is the role of an alternate zoning board member? If you could just describe what his roles and responsibilities would be for the audience, whoever might be out there.
Actually, I think Jim can answer clearer than me, but
Sure. Okay.
he'll act just like any other board member, with the absentee of one of our current members, if he need to vote on any one hearing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he has a voting. So as an alternate, now it's Mr. Cuffer, he has as a voting member. As an alternate, he has a voting privilege.
Yes, yeah, Peter nailed it on the head there. It's whenever anyone is absent from a hearing and there needs to be a vote, the chairman can call on the alternate to sit in that seat as long as they have been present at all the hearings.
Yeah, I was going to follow up with that. So they can't really vote unless they've been present at all the meetings, the hearings, basically, correct?
That's right.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I'm good.
Great.
Sounds like he's very competent and has qualifications that could help out the zoning board.
Thank you.
Anyone else from our board, or Peter, do you have anything you would like to add?
No, not at all. Just happy to see other people want to get involved in the town.
Okay,
Thank
great. Just to clarify, what is is there a set term that this is expiring at? Hillary, maybe?
3 years, I think. Let me just double check though.
I know our other zoning, I believe they're 5, but I didn't know if the alternate was different or,
The alternate is 3.
okay, very good.
Okay.
And is that 3 from today or 3 from a particular date?
So Jim, is he filling someone else's role?
No, this would be from today. This is an appointed position from the board. He's not filling an elected seat or anything like that.
Okay. So we would do today and then 3 years, and then we usually reappoint in March, 3 years from now.
Okay, great. All right, all that said, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Jason as the alternate zoning board member.
So moved.
Second.
Dawn, second by Cindy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
None. That gets it 5-0. Jason, thanks for stepping up. We wish we had
Yeah.
more people from the community to do these things.
Thank you. Glad to help.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you,
Very much.
Jason.
Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, folks, I saw that Amy is on the call. Amy Questle from KP Law with an update on where we stand with the Sunoco property in the north end of town. There you go, Amy.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Amy Questle, Town Council. Tim is also here, the building commissioner. So the background on this property is that there's numerous unregistered cars on the property in violation of a general bylaw. We served a cease and desist letter on April 9th, and the operator, not the owner, but the operator reached out to me by phone and had a plan to remove numerous cars, etc. So Tim's been going to this property numerous times, noting, every single time how many cars there are registered, how many cars are not, and we need all of this background. So I'm grateful to Tim for doing this. And then we reached a point where, so the unregistered cars were reducing. And then we reached another point back in August where it kind of stalled. So we served another cease and desist letter on August 25th. Tim's been out there a couple more times with that. And then just recently, Tim has been out there and was informed that they have acquired a new location that they're renting that they have access to in approximately 3 weeks that will allow them to remove all the unregistered cars. Tim can confirm, but it's my understanding there were 22. The most recent count is 22, down from 50, which, in my opinion, 22 is still not acceptable, but there were 22 cars as of Tim's last inspection.
Hey, Tim, when was that? Because I think Cindy and I both commented recently when we were together that they had cars all the way out to the street. I thought it was looking like there was more in the past 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I went out there, I think it was Wednesday, and I did a count. He has cars there that are registered too, so
Yep.
it's kind of deceiving. So I have to go walk through the crowd and I look at the tags. But he has, so there's probably about 10 or 12, maybe 15 cars that are like just, I think he owns them and he just uses them for parts. So those are like tucked in the back, and then the ones out front, most of the ones out front have plates on them. There's a couple of that don't on the left side if you're facing the building, but he still has 22, and every time I go there, he comes right out, and I'm trying to count the vehicles, and he just gives me his, he is working toward removing them. He had over 50. And, we have to show a track record, even if we do if we end up filing a motion, we have to show this, what we've gave them a chance to work through it. And, now I went there Wednesday and he said that he secured a location. So I had a conversation with Amy this afternoon, and I said, maybe we get a copy or something of a letter of intent on his new location. And, if he gets us the copy of it, confirming that he has a place tied up, in 3 weeks, I don't think we could get in front of the court that soon anyway. But if the board is willing to just stick it out just for a little longer, if not, we'll just file the motion if he doesn't, make good on his word.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yeah.
I was by there over the weekend and was counting cars, but one thing that seemed odd to me is the plates. So it's, you can get plates pretty much anywhere. How do we know if these plates are actually registered vehicles? To me, I didn't see a 20 or a 21 on these plates. They just seemed like they slapped on plates. So I know this is asking a lot of you and Tim and the police department, but what really concerns me is that I don't think all those cars are actually registered. There's no way they have that many cars backed up for repairs. They have 2 bays. One bay is constantly used for renewing your inspection. The other bay is leased out by a guy that does the BMWs and Mercedes. And there's just no way he can turn those. Someone's not going to leave their car for weeks. And that's what it looks like to me. The same cars have been there for weeks with a plate. I don't think those plates are active.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
My gut
Stoplight
tells
today,
me
and I
that.
counted 40 cars.
Yeah.
40.
So I look when I go up there and I count, I look in to make sure the number on the plate. If it's a 19, then it's counted as an unregistered. I can't run the plates personally.
I know you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's awful lot to ask. I just wanted to bring that up. That was a concern of mine.
I was hoping that. Yeah, I was hoping that he said he's going to get a lot of them out of there. I'm assuming it's some that are sitting there to give him some room. But he has the right to have vehicles there that have tags on them, current tags. Mm-hmm. Whether they're attaching plates or not, Don, I really don't know.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't want to accuse them
Chairman?
of fraud, but
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. So just quick, so like the genesis of this whole thing, or I guess in the middle of it, has been that him or a family member had a used car dealership, and then that closed down, so they moved those cars to this location. Is that somewhat accurate, or?
He claims that they're all cars to be worked on, and he doesn't own any of them except for the junk ones that are there. That's what he claimed.
All right. So, but there are cars that he owns there. Have we been, and I know somebody brought this up last time, it might have been Cindy or it could have been Dawn, I forget, about excise tax. Have they been paying excise tax for garaging those vehicles there?
That I couldn't tell you. I mean, it depends on where they're registered. The unregistered ones, you mean?
The registered or unregistered?
Well, the registered ones are supposedly customers' cars, so I don't know where they're registered to, what address, but, some of them could be Bellingham. I would guess that probably the majority are not in Bellingham, but I don't know that.
Yeah. All right. I mean, if we can get them cleaned up and out of there in 3 weeks without having to file anything, I'm good with that, but maybe we should, as you mentioned, get some kind of documentation that they do have a place to move them to, and they will be gone in 3 weeks. And I'll be fine with that.
I agree. I'd feel if we have something in writing from them stating by X date, they're all going to be gone. Otherwise, I feel like he's just playing a little shell game with us. We go hard on them and then they pull out 5, 10 cars. And seriously, I was at the light today and I counted 40 cars. How can he possibly be working on that many cars?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Sounds like
I ask him that all the time, and he dances around it. People drop them off. He has no control over it, and they leave them here. He calls them to come get them. I said, look, I'm not getting into his business, the way he operates. He's just in violation, and I tell him, either get them out of here, or we're gonna end up filing a motion against you. And he's had conversation with Amy as well. So, like I said, he had a ton of cars, but whatever the board thinks, whatever the board wants to do, I have no problem with it. Just let me know.
So
Amy or Dennis?
in my conversation with him, it basically was that Tim has been more than patient with him, and that you know, the town was fed up, and quite honestly, after that conversation, cars did start reducing, and then it stopped. And so, you know, the having him submit something in writing saying that within 3 weeks these cars will be removed, and you know, maybe proof of the place that they're going to be removed to, would do nothing but help our case if they're not removed, because we then have 2 cease and desists. We have all of Tim's backup, which, I mean, he's on, you know, he's doing site visits all the time. So we have all that backup. Plus we have, you know, our final chance when we actually, you know, said, okay, you are going to remove these. You said you're going to remove these in writing, and then he doesn't. It does nothing but help us.
To me, he's shown wanton disregard for the select board. And for him to even say that he's going to deal with it in 3 weeks seems like he's still calling the shots. I would prefer to say that we send him a letter that on November 1st, we're going to file.
That's fine. We can definitely do that.
I mean, if the board wants to go longer, that's fine. But again,
What does that mean when you say file? Like, what's the next step after that?
So we would file a complaint. We would file a complaint for enforcement, to enforce the general bylaw. And so we have some options. We could file the complaint in Superior Court. We could also file the complaint in Housing Court as an enforcement action. During COVID, we found that Housing Court is moving faster than Superior Court. But again, I mean, that's something that we can work out later. The complaint is the same. We would draft the complaint. The complaint would be a verified complaint, you know, listing out all the facts and essentially Tim's calendar. You know, we would just list out all the times he's been there, what he's seen, and we would file it. And then we would seek some kind of, I mean, a preliminary injunction. We would seek an injunction from the court ordering him to comply with the bylaw, which is for him to remove those cars. So even though it is a preliminary injunction, we're not necessarily, we're stopping him from storing those cars on that property in Bellingham.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Amy.
Go ahead, Tim.
Amy, so once we file the injunction and we get in front of either a magistrate or a judge, they can also drag it out. Is that correct?
Yeah, they could, you know, without getting into too much, since we're in open session, we're not in executive session discussing, you know, potential litigation. They, you know, they have to show a defense. You know, I don't necessarily have, I don't know what they would claim as a defense. The bylaw is pretty clear, and the evidence is right there. So, you know, but again, there's always ways for things to, particularly in the environment that we're in, you know, things aren't moving particularly fast. So, but the one thing, Mr. Chairman, if I could just, if we could move that date to November 2nd, because November 1st is a Sunday, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can draft a letter from the Board of Selectmen and have Dennis approve it and send it out to him stating as such.
Okay. Is there any objection from the board to go with November 2nd versus 3 weeks out?
No, I have no objection, Mr. Chair, if I may ask Tim. So as far as the gas station operations go? Do they require a annual inspection on tanks or fire suppression that allows them to operate at a gas station?
Yeah, so he has fuel storage permits from the fire department, yes.
Are they issued annually?
You know, I don't know how many, I don't know if there's a time frame. I'd have to look in their book.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if it's something that we could say, we're going to hold up the approval of any additional permits at that location based on your compliance to the bylaw. I'm not sure if we can do that or not, but maybe it's something we could look at. To Amy shaking her head.
Amy?
That might be problematic just because those permits are pursuant to a CMR, to a Code of Mass Regulations. So they're mostly state. I don't know if he has any. Does he have a Class 2 or Class 3 license from the Board of
No,
Selectmen?
that's no problem.
No. Okay. But yeah.
All right. So.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, then I'm good. November 2nd, we file the motion for the injunction, and we pursue it as much as we can at that point.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's no problem.
All right. So between now and then, who will notify him of that deadline?
I can send out a letter. I can either we can either do a letter on Board of Selectmen or Select Board letterhead, or we can do a town council enforcement, another town council enforcement letter, which simply states that the Select Board has determined XYZ November 2nd. It's probably quicker if we go with a town council letter, because then
Okay.
I can just send it out myself tomorrow. And we can have that, we'll have that served. We'll have it served by sheriff, and we'll have it served by certified mail and regular
Thank you
mail.
very much.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate the update. Any last questions for Amy before we move on? All right.
Nope, all set.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Amy, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Nice to see everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
Amy.
Next up, we have Larry Spazzato, our town clerk, with an update on our polling place standout approach. Larry on the line?
Can you hear me? Yes,
Yes,
I'm
Larry.
here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, at your last meeting, you mentioned, you asked me a few questions about whether or not we could disallow signs that were standing by themselves, and also find a way to avoid the bottleneck at the opening to the driveway into the school. And so I believe that you all have a copy of the diagram that I came up with.
Yes.
Okay. And I know you had a question, Mr. Chairman, and I wasn't sure if that I replied back, but I wasn't sure if I answered
Yes.
your question.
So looking at the diagram, I doubt that anyone would set up signs at the other end of the second parking lot. I wasn't averse to having people holding signs at the entrance to the school. I think anything beyond the first parking lot is problematic. My bigger concern was the people that just plopped in 20 signs and left them unattended.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's something we can certainly have a police officer monitor. I thought that you were worried about the bottleneck, because sometimes it does create a bottleneck down there with people holding signs, because other people stop to talk and so on and so forth.
That's a great point. I don't know if anyone else on the board has thoughts on that.
I think we
His
just need to
recommendation's
make it.
fine.
Okay.
I don't know. Anybody
All
else?
right.
As far as the bottleneck goes, I mean, I think people holding signs need to be cognizant of traffic that's built up, and they can't sit there and have conversations with people moving in. I don't know if we can educate them or not, but I don't have problems with the holding the signs at the entrance of the high school. But if it becomes a problem, then maybe we need an officer to enforce that you can't stop and talk to the people holding signs. You need to drive up the driveway and get to where you're going.
Yep. All right. Larry, I think the bottom line is it's the unoccupied signs is what we want to be
Okay.
more.
Okay,
aggressive.
so we'll just have a police officer monitor for those and remove them whenever they're noticed.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I certainly can direct them to do that.
All right. Well, that was easy.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
Larry,
it was
thank you
easy.
very much.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you, Larry.
Our next order of business is information we received from DPW Director Don DiMartino about the brick FEMA grant requiring our approval. And I'm just flipping through my notes. Does anyone want to read the motion that they may have in front of them?
I will if you want.
Please. Thank you, Kelly.
I move that the board vote to approve the application for a grant under the Building Resilient Infrastructure in Communities BRIC FEMA grant program to construct drainage improvements and mitigate flooding in the Green Acres neighborhood, Newland, Prairie, Dalmore, Lazat, etc. And that the DPW director is hereby authorized to sign the formal grant application.
Second.
First and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None. 5-0. Moving right along. Motion for the September 21st minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Can you also approve, I attached October 5th minutes as well.
Okay, we'll do them separately. So
Okay.
who first and who seconded those?
Everyone.
All right.
Dawn.
Hillary, take your pick on who seconded then. All those in favor of approving the September 21st minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? None. All those in favor of the October 5th minutes?
Aye.
Opposed? None. 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a point of interest? I think we should make Dan Spencer listen to the recording of this meeting so he can
I tell you, hearing
part of
Dan
his
makes,
homework before he goes away and zooms in again.
Is it that bad?
it is that bad, Dan.
Terrible.
That
I've
bad.
closed out every window that I have. The only thing I have open is this Zoom meeting. And I'm looking at the agenda on my phone just so
Oh,
I can.
it's painful.
Dan,
Anyway,
makes me want to
sorry.
watch.
Fine, folks.
Makes me want to watch 2010: A Space Odyssey.
I'll just be so.
All right.
Oh, I just got thank.
Trying to keep it light.
Dennis, you want
Now I just
to
got
go
an
over anything on
indication
your
that
report?
my internet connection is unstable.
Jim, you want to mute him?
That's what it sounds like, Dan. Just a few things. Starting with an agreement that I sent out, it was just finalized today. It's a mitigation agreement that the Board of Selectmen entered into quite some time ago with Fafford relative to the project that he's working on right now, the 40B that he has. And one of the mitigation items that was included was a turning lane at the Easy Street or Douglas Street and Route 126. So it'd be a turning lane on Route 126 to get into that neighborhood. And that turning lane is actually going to be incorporated as part of our TIP project, which we're looking at a 2021-2022 timeframe. So we didn't want to lose the value of him doing that work since it's got a value to it. Mr. DiMartino actually costed out what the value of that turning lane is. And we're looking at having some road work done in that Easy Street, Douglas Street neighborhood. Those roads have been abused over the last couple of years with heavy trucks coming and going. And that mitigation agreement, essentially what it would do is it would take the funds that were going to be used for that turning lane, which I say are now going to be included in the TIP project, and benefit us with some reconstruction of some of the roadways in that Douglas Street, Easy Street neighborhood. So Jim's been working quite a bit on it. Don's been working on it. Jim, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, you pretty much hit on it. Just the roads in the neighborhood, or they're touching on Chamberlain, South Center Street, North Center Street, some at Easy, some at Silver, Jordan Ave. So it's really as much of that neighborhood as we could get for the cost of the intersections that Dennis mentioned.
So it's a win for the neighborhood, really, because they're going to get their roads done, and at the same time, we're still going to get the turning lane. But it would require approval by the Board of Selectmen for the amendment to the mitigation agreement on Lakeview Estates.
Okay, so any further discussion or questions for Dennis on this? Hearing none,
No,
I'll
very
entertain a
thorough.
motion to amend the Fafford agreement to incorporate paving instead of the mitigation work on 126.
So moved.
First by Dawn, second by Cindy. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Hang on, Dan has a question in the comment box. Dan, did they answer your question? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down. So his question is, had we had any of those roads on the road plan?
Yeah, that whole neighborhood's actually on the road plan. It's not high on the priority, but it's in the road plan. If you drive in there, you'd see that they're in tough shape. So yes, they are in the road plan.
And may I add one thing to that motion? You had mentioned Route 126. May it just be stated for the terms and conditions of Section 1, paragraphs B, C, D, and E. And the reason I mentioned that is there's further mitigation measures on 126 that we don't want to kind of mix into this discussion.
Dawn and Cindy, that work for you?
It does.
I don't know what does B, C, D, and E mean, Jim?
So B, C, D, and E are the mitigation measures for those intersections that Dennis mentioned. There's also an F, which is a light further down on 126 that's not included on this. So I just wanted to make sure that we kept it separate if we could.
Okay, thank you.
Good catch, Jim. Thank you. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. I get a thumbs up from Dan, 5-0. Very good.
Just a couple.
Go ahead, Dennis.
A couple other things. I know we talked a fair amount about Halloween. There is I know I sent it out to everyone, the release that we put on the town's website. Department of Health actually came out with some great guidance, so we piggybacked on that. And a lot of it's obvious, but there's some good suggestions in there as well, and that has been posted. Veterans Day, there will be a program at the gazebo. We are limited to 100 is what Bruce Wilson tells me. Whether or not that number drops or not between now and Veterans Day remains to be seen, but there will be a very light program at the gazebo on Veterans Day, November 11th. Jim Hastings and the Memorial Veterans Day Committee have been working on that, and obviously the selectmen will be invited to that. And finally, the town meeting, we're looking at doing it in the gymnasium so that we can open up doors, have airflow, set up chairs, rather than try and direct people and have ushers to seats. We'll just set up the chairs in the gymnasium, and we'll space them out appropriately, much like we did town meeting on the football field. We will have some additional seating. I think we'll be able to fit a couple hundred in there anyway. And then we will have some satellite areas in the high school in case we don't have enough seating there. We will have the cafeteria set up with a monitor. We're going to have that any high profile issues. So that's the plan right now, and we'll be spending some time over there to make sure that we get all the logistics down. A couple of things that we've been talking a little bit about. I know Mr. Connor brought up working with Verizon to see if we can get those removed. Don DiMartino has been in touch with Verizon, and we're still working on that pole on Maple Street as well. The infamous double pole. Unfortunately, it just keeps getting delayed, and why, I don't know. I know COVID slowed it down, but we've been talking about that for well over a year now. So that is something that we continue to work with Verizon on. Okay. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Next up is September abatements, I believe. Hillary, you added that to the agenda?
Yes, I forwarded the September abatements from Barbara this morning.
Kelly, do you have those?
Yes.
You want to go through them?
Yeah, before we do the September abatements, do we want to discuss that $9,000 abatement that we held from the previous meeting?
It's under August abatements under old business if you want.
Okay, so we'll do that after.
Yeah.
All right, so the September 2020 abatements are as follows. Capital improvement charge in the amount of $252.42, sewer in the amount of $53.65, trash in the amount of $413.15, water in the amount of $1,538.69 for a grand total of $2,257.91.
Give a second. Second from
So
Dan.
moved. Second. Okay.
Yeah, Dan gave me 2 fingers. He didn't give me the 1 finger. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Dan gave a thumbs up, 5-0. All right, thank you very much, Kelly. August abatements, any update that you want to give from either, who's on the line, Mary or Dennis or?
Hi guys, it's Mary.
Yeah.
I did send out some information following up on those 2 accounts from the August abatements. You had asked for some additional information, and I did send that out. Did everybody receive that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the first one was the $1,200 abatement, and that was for a property over on Scott Hill Boulevard. And I gave you the dates of when the penalties were assessed. The meter needed to be replaced. It was after 3 penalties were assessed, the meter was replaced. Those penalties and the corrective action were taken within the time frame of our regulations, and therefore these penalties are being requested to be abated again per the regulations. The second account where the $9,000 was a series of penalties that were applied to the account. I gave you the dates that those penalties were assessed and the amounts. As you can see, those penalties were assessed over the course of a 2-year period, which is in excess of what the regulations allow. There were repeated attempts. There were phone calls, site visits, placards that were left on the doors, numerous attempts that were made to this particular property. This property is as Dennis had indicated, this particular property owner owns a number of parcels in the community that he does renovations or flips on. So at the time, this property was unoccupied. However, despite our repeated attempts at reaching this particular homeowner, there was no response within the time frame that was required. My recommendation is to not approve the abatement of these particular penalties. And I've given you some information from Barbara at DPW to support that.
Any questions from the board?
In reading over the information Mary sent, this individual owns 27 properties in town. And according to Barbara in the DPW office, they are consistently putting liens on these properties for unpaid balances beginning in 2015. So no, I'm not going for an abatement of $9,000.
Were we entertaining at one point bringing him in front of us?
I think he may want to come in front of us after he gets notified that we're not abating it.
True, okay.
All right, at this point, I believe would entertain a motion for the abatement of the $1,200 based on policy.
So moved.
Second.
There a second? Okay, first and seconded by Kelly and Cindy. Any further discussion or maybe comment from Dennis or Mary if you don't agree?
Nope.
We're all in agreement on this one.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 5-0 with a thumbs up. All right, and I believe no vote is necessary if we're not going to abate the $9,000, so no action on the $9,000 abatement. Agreed?
I'm sorry, just a clarification. Do you typically, when you are not authorizing the abatements, do you typically take a negative vote so that the DPW has an action, or you typically take no vote?
I think
Dennis,
we need
do
to
you-
rescind the,
On this one,
rescind
on
the
this one, it might be
abatement
good to take a vote.
application.
Okay.
So
All right.
the motion I would pose, Dennis, is that we rescind the application for abatement, because we're actually, you know, an application or whatever the process is for the abatement, we're denying the abatement. But so how would we make this motion?
I would think it would just be a denial of the abatement. I'm sorry,
Denial.
Dennis.
Yep.
No, that's okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we deny the abatement for 9,000. What's the exact number?
I think it's 9,000 even.
9,000.
9,000 even? Okay, for $9,000.
Do we have a second?
Second?
I
Second
can
by
write,
Kelly.
I can write in the property address in that.
Yeah, we
yeah.
need to put the property addresses in there.
Okay,
Okay. You'll add that to the minutes then, Hillary?
yeah.
All right.
And I'm
All-
sorry, who seconded it? Kelly?
Kelly,
Yes.
all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed with a thumbs up. I mean, unanimous with a thumbs up. Thank you. All right. Any other old business? Any new business? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
First and seconded. We are back at the Arcane Room for our next meeting, I believe, or not? Yes? November 1st? Okay.
Second? November
All right.
2nd?
Yeah. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None? I blew my 7:45 Jim Kupfer, but we had an over-under. Folks, have a great night. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys.
Thank
take
you.
care.
Good night, Mike.
Good night.
Thanks.
Bye.
Good night.